Something good to focus on is simply this: getting good at winning. Now, when we say get good at winning, it's not just the approach most people take is this: drill wrestling moves or technique, go to a lot of practices. The workout partner chasing is rampant, right? Everyone's trying to find a workout partner because they're sold the big lie that you're only as good as your workout partners, and having great workout partners is the key, when really nothing could be better than going to practice on your own, working your number one setup to your best leg attack, and spend 45 minutes, drill 250 times, and then when you get to the leg attack, say, the best two ways my opponent can counter are these two ways. What would I do then? Then hit 150 of those, right? And then you can start to master something. And then you get to where you say, well, now that I'm getting so good at my setup, my opponents are scouting me, they're reacting this way. So now your best setup, they're reacting to your setup. And you say, the number one way they react to my setup is this. Well, now that leads to another maybe leg attack. Now you're getting great at wrestling. So quit chasing workout partners and start spending some on your own drill time. If you jump on your knees and you work your three best single leg finishes for an hour and 20 minutes, and you do that 3 times this week, you can't tell me that your confidence is not going to soar. So that's a little sort of getting sidetracked, I guess, but I want to kind of qualify my opinion on the whole workout partner chasing that you see taking place, and it's been that way forever, I think. So our goal at our wrestling academy is become the great workout partner. Let people chase you. Pretty soon people are saying, hey, my son's a good wrestler, or I'm a good wrestler, you want to come and work out, because we do need good workout partners. But you become the great workout partner, and then you won't have a problem finding workout partners, because they're going to come hunt you down because you're beating them by 12 points, right? So become skilled, and everything else takes care of itself. Now, as far as getting good at winning, what we're talking about is simply this. People who are good at winning, they're good at managing their emotions before the match. They have a good game plan. If their emotions aren't in check, they, think about the match, get themselves into a good emotional kind of state before the match. They had a good warm-up. They know what to eat before a tournament or a match. During the match, they focus on their game plan, and they're very good at scoring first. They understand what they need to do to win the match. The college guys always say this on TV when you watch them with their interviews. I'm going to stay in my positions where I'm good. So the kids who are good at winning, they're good also at staying in the positions where they're good. Sure, if a cradle's there, they'll take it, but they're not going to wrestle from a cradle ride. They're not going to wrestle from a crab ride. If they're a leg rider, they're going to breathe into far ear and get their leg in, because that's where they're really good. Now, obviously, they'll take a cradle if it's there, right? But as far as getting good at winning matches, it comes down to all of those things. Learning to manage yourself through a match, thinking ahead of, what this opponent in this match is going to be like, having a game plan, making sure that you don't go out there too hot or too cold, make sure that you go out there warmed up and ready, and make sure that you go out there sort of in a calm, in I wouldn't say relaxed, but a calm and focused mindset. And you're going to lose matches, obviously, but over the course of time, you become someone who's very consistent in high percentage. You see too often the great wrestlers they'll beat the state champ in the dual meet, and then, on a Thursday night, and then Friday night, first round in the tournament, they'll lose to a JV kid, and their parents and coaches are pulling their hair out. Well, that wrestler, he beat the state champ, and he's a great wrestler, but he's not great at winning matches. And so if you want your wrestling to hit a new level, my advice is to get very good at winning matches. And it's going to take time, but you focus on it. You get what you focus on. If I'm focusing on being a kid who is very good at winning matches. During the course of the wrestling match, there's a bunch of decisions that take place. You eventually, after the match, maybe you lost a match, maybe you didn't score on the edge, and you let that affect you mentally, and maybe you did an attack at the end of the period and you lost the match. Well, then you come back to the drawing board and you watch your match. It's called self-awareness. You evaluate your match and you say, I need to get better there. I need to understand that sometimes I'm not going to score. Sometimes my opponent does something good and I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to let that happen again. I have just taken a big step towards getting good at winning matches. It's a lot of it's just maturity. But if you just roll around and wrestle hard and get hot and sweaty and try to score a bunch of points, you're never really making a focused effort on getting great at winning matches. Whereas you make a full emotional commitment to getting very good at winning matches by doing those things that we discussed, I think your wrestling is going to soar. Another real quick piece of advice is, to hit a new level, we talk about this all the time, just the importance of getting off bottom. But if I get off bottom in the last 20 seconds of the second period, and my habit is to get away, late in that second period, I never give myself a chance to get a takedown. The best wrestlers, let's say, can get away in 20 to 40 seconds. Now they have, let's say a minute and a half to get a takedown. And so you say, okay, let's look at your matches the first half of season. You're 21-4. You have a good record here. Let's look at your second period. And you say, 24% of the matches you didn't get away until the final 30 seconds or so. Let's fix that. Then the last half of the season, let's say, 80% of the time you're getting away within 40 seconds or less, and of those 80% of the time, most of those are 25 seconds or less. And then look at how many 3-point second periods you have had, and now your wrestling starts to take a big jump. All right, so I'm sort of getting sidetracked here, but I want you to kind of wrap your mind around kind of the thought process of getting great at wrestling. It's not just drilling moves and wrestling live and hoping you get good, right? If your second period isn't producing a 3-point period much of the time, that is a position you can work on. The athletes who get very good at winning matches, they're thinking about these things. The coaches who are the best coaches, I would assume, are discussing these things in practice. We have situations in live wrestling at our camps and in our weekly academy as well, as far as, we're putting these kids in these situations. And so that when it happens in the state semis, it's not the first time that they've been there. Okay? So my advice would be to get very good at winning matches by making that a point of focus. The wins, whys, and hows. And it's going to be a little bit different for every wrestler. We all have different wrestling styles, right? And diagnosing the positions where you're good, learning how to stay there, learning to attack your weaknesses, your emotional weaknesses, during a match, before, after, and fixing those areas. We always try to react to our wins and losses intellectually, not emotionally. That's a big step towards becoming good at winning. So hopefully I've kind of whet your appetite a little bit as far as different thought processes, and hopefully it kind of helps. If anybody has any questions, I'm certainly willing to help. You can email us anytime at purlerwrestling.com, or my email address is nick@purlerwrestling.com. But obviously you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, get on our email list if you have interest in training at our camps, and check us out at purlerwrestling.com. But good luck to everyone.